Let's talk about something that might sound boring at first, but is actually a total game changer in the world of global trade, a port. But not just any port. We're talking about a massive, high-tech gateway that's about to shake up how countries do business with each other. Specifically, this is a $285 million export hub that China is building right in the heart of Brazil. It's a project that's making headlines in both countries, and for good reason. This isn't just any dock. It's a state-of-the-art facility, packed with the latest technology, designed to help China buy massive amounts of Brazilian goods, faster and cheaper than ever before. Imagine a port where efficiency is king, and every second saved means millions more in trade. Think of it as China's personal Amazon Prime, but instead of delivering socks or gadgets, it's moving mountains of soybeans, iron ore, and other raw materials that fuel China's booming industries. This port is set up to handle the kind of bulk shipments that keep entire economies running. The port of São Luís is more than just a new dock. It's a bold move in global trade, signaling a major shift in economic alliances. It's a physical symbol of how the world's supply chains are being redrawn right before our eyes. Built by the China Communications Construction Company, this isn't some private business venture. This is Beijing making a long-term strategic play to secure resources and influence in South America. The port will be able to handle some of the world's largest cargo ships, creating what's essentially a superhighway for commodities running straight from Brazil's heartland to China's factories and cities. Why does this matter? Because for decades, the US was China's go-to supplier for these essential goods. American farmers and miners were the backbone of China's supply chain. Now China is building a direct lane to Brazil, one that's cheaper, faster, and comes without the political baggage that's been piling up between Washington and Beijing. It's a move that could change the balance of power in global trade. This isn't just a construction project, it's a breakup letter to American supply chains. It's China saying, we don't need to rely on the US anymore. China is consciously shifting away from the US and pouring billions into Brazil, forging new partnerships and securing its future access to vital resources. And as we'll see, this decision could cost the US not just millions, but billions of dollars in lost trade, jobs, and influence. The global chessboard just got a powerful new piece, and this time, it's not in America's favor. The world is watching as China and Brazil rewrite the rules of the game. Why is China suddenly so eager to build its own express lane out of Brazil? The answer can be summed up in one word: tariffs. But the story goes much deeper than that. For years, the US and China have been locked in a heated trade war, each side slapping hefty taxes on the other's goods. What started as a political standoff quickly turned into a high-stakes economic chess match, with both countries trying to outmaneuver each other. For Chinese importers, American soybeans, a staple in their supply chain, suddenly became 25% more expensive overnight. That's not just a minor inconvenience, it's a game changer for companies that rely on predictable costs. This price hike was a direct hit to American farmers, especially those in the Midwest, who had long depended on the Chinese market to buy their crops. Many found themselves with surplus harvests and nowhere to send them. The trade war created a climate of uncertainty. Costs could skyrocket or plummet with a single tweet or policy change. Businesses on both sides of the Pacific were left guessing what would happen next. In global trade, predictability is everything. Suddenly, the US was seen as a risky supplier, and companies started looking for safer, more reliable options. So China began searching for new partners. Countries with abundant resources, stable governments, and most importantly, no trade war drama to worry about. Enter Brazil, resource-rich, politically stable, and offering tariff-free trade. Brazil quickly became the obvious choice for China's new supply chain. By investing heavily in infrastructure like the port of São Luís, China isn't just buying soybeans, it's buying long-term stability and control over its supply lines. This is more than just a business deal. It's a strategic pivot away from US unpredictability toward a secure, predictable supply chain that China can count on. The port is more than just concrete and cranes. It's China's insurance policy against future trade wars and market shocks. As a result, the US has lost its competitive edge in this crucial market, and China isn't looking back. The shift is clear and decisive. The new normal is here. China and Brazil, trading at full speed, forging a partnership that's reshaping the global supply chain landscape. Enter Brazil, the new MVP in China's supply chain. Brazil is a global powerhouse in soybeans, iron ore, and crude oil. everything China needs. With US soybeans now pricier, China turned to Brazil. And Brazil ramped up production to meet demand. It's not just about agriculture. Brazil's iron ore is crucial for China's steel industry. The new port in São Luís is perfectly placed to move these resources quickly and cheaply. This isn't just trade, it's geopolitics. China's Belt and Road Initiative is about building influence, not just infrastructure. By investing in Brazil, China is cementing its role as a key partner in South America. This strengthens China's hand in a region the US once dominated. The balance of power is shifting, fast. The numbers tell the story. Before the trade war, the US and Brazil both exported huge amounts of soybeans to China, but the US had the edge. Then tariffs hit, and Brazil took over. In 2017, the US exported $12.2 billion in soybeans to China. Brazil exported $20.3 billion. By 2023, Brazil's exports to China soared to over $43 billion, while US exports lagged. Brazil didn't just fill the gap, it dominated. The same trend is happening with corn and other crops. In 2023, Brazil overtook the US as the world's top corn exporter, much of it going to China. The new port locks in Brazil's advantage, making its goods even more competitive. This isn't a temporary dip for the US, it's a fundamental shift. The port cements Brazil as China's top supplier, and the US is left behind. The global trade map has been redrawn, and the US is on the outside looking in. Let's get personal. Meet Dave, a soybean farmer in Iowa. For years, Dave's crops went straight to China, funding his family and his community. Then the trade war hit, and that market vanished overnight. Soybean prices crashed, and government subsidies barely softened the blow. The pain rippled out, farmers stopped buying equipment, local businesses suffered, and rural economies took a hit. The loss of China wasn't just an ag crisis, it was a rural economic disaster. Now, with China investing in Brazil, the hope of regaining that market is fading. The port of São Luís is a permanent fix for China, a permanent problem for US farmers. Competing on price or logistics is nearly impossible now. This isn't just a bad year, it's a generational loss. For farmers like Dave, the news from Brazil is a direct threat to their future. The stakes couldn't be higher. The economic damage goes far beyond the farm. Every lost bushel to China is a hit to America's entire export ecosystem. Truckers, railways, ports, and storage facilities. Ports that invested millions to handle exports now face underused docks. The new Brazilian port is siphoning off business for decades to come. Export losses ripple through the economy, slowing growth and costing jobs. Billions that once flowed into the US now head to Brazil. America's trade deficit grows, and a key export sector weakens. The US used to have a strong agricultural surplus. Now that's slipping away. China isn't just buying elsewhere, it's building a system that cuts the US out. The port of São Luís is a cornerstone of that new system. The US is bleeding billions, and the wound is self-inflicted. This isn't just economics, it's a geopolitical dance between the US, China, and Brazil. For decades, the US dominated the Western Hemisphere. Now China is buying influence with checkbook diplomacy, funding projects like the port of São Luís. Brazil gets jobs and development, but also deeper ties to Beijing. It's a balancing act. Brazil wants China's money, but doesn't want to alienate the US. For America, China's growing footprint in Latin America is a wake-up call. It's not just about lost sales, it's about lost influence. Strategic ports close to home raise security and diplomatic questions. The US is no longer the only power in the Americas. The chessboard has changed, and America's old playbook won't cut it. The stakes are bigger than soybeans. It's not all doom and gloom. There are silver linings if the US acts fast. This crisis is a wake-up call to diversify export markets and reduce reliance on China. The US can target new markets in Asia, Africa, and Latin America. It's also a chance to innovate, invest in precision agriculture, new crop varieties, and alternative uses like plant-based proteins. Building domestic demand can cushion against export shocks. Smarter trade policy is needed. Tariffs backfired, so it's time for targeted strategic measures. The US should invest in relationships with Latin America, offering real partnerships, not just words. Necessity drives innovation. This could make American agriculture stronger. The lesson: adapt, diversify, and compete smarter. The future isn't set in stone. So what should America do next? Complaining isn't a strategy, and simply pointing fingers won't change the game. The world is shifting fast, and the US needs to act with purpose and vision. First, invest in US infrastructure. Ports, railways, and logistics need major upgrades to stay competitive in a rapidly evolving global market. Modernizing these systems will help American businesses move goods faster and more efficiently, creating jobs and boosting the economy. Support innovation and education to boost efficiency and quality. By investing in science, technology, engineering, and math, America can nurture the next generation of inventors and entrepreneurs, ensuring the country remains a leader in cutting-edge industries. Second, re-engage in trade diplomacy, lead new agreements, build strong alliances, and open new markets for American products. The US must be at the table, shaping the rules and building partnerships that benefit both sides. The US can't afford to sit on the sidelines while China writes the rules of global commerce. Proactive engagement is essential to protect American interests and values. Third, offer better deals to countries like Brazil. Focus on sustainable development, transparency, and good governance. By providing real alternatives, America can build trust and long-term partnerships. Compete with China not just on money, but on values and long-term benefits. Show that American partnerships mean shared growth, respect, and opportunity for all. Engage Latin America with real investment and expertise, not just promises. Help build industries, create jobs, and foster innovation across the region. The port in Brazil is a symptom of a bigger shift, a sign that global influence is up for grabs, and America must respond. The US can't turn back the clock, but it can adapt and lead. Embracing change is the only way forward. Economic strength at home and influence abroad go hand in hand. A strong America means a stronger presence on the world stage. The game has changed. America needs a new strategy, one that's bold, flexible, and forward-thinking. Learn the new rules, adapt quickly, and innovate, or risk being left behind in a world that won't wait. The world is moving on. Will America keep up, or will it watch from the sidelines? The next move is America's to make.